All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, we've got quite the intriguing fight set to go at Unified MMA 45. That transpires on May the 27th. And in the co-feature for the Unified MMA Heavyweight Championship, we've got Christian Larsen and Grayson Wells going at it once again. And always good to be talking to Grayson and having him on the show. How's your day going so far, man?
Day's going good, my man. I just left the gym. Just headed home to have some food, and I appreciate you having me on your show.
Yeah, it's cool getting to talk to you, man. And I'm curious, like, what the space for this one is, because the last time we were talking, you were training at like Mamba MMA with Coulter Gill, and also getting in that Scorpion MMA work with Dan Golkar. Like, where were you just getting in work today?
I was just at Good Life today. I opened up my own gym, actually, Relentless Muay Thai.
Oh, cool.
In Abbotsford. So I've been just kind of doing my own thing the last little bit.
That sounds awesome, man. How's that all been going? Have you been learning a lot of new kind of lessons, like even in the context of like having like that business yourself and everything like that? Like, how's that whole experience been?
It's going really well. Actually, I'm getting lots of good feedback, and it's nice to be on the coaching side of things. I spent most of my life fighting, so I'm really enjoying the coaching aspect of it.
Yeah, that would strike me as like a very natural transition for you. Like, whenever obviously you've got a number of fights left in you for sure, but I mean, I feel like that would be a very natural transition when the competitive career kind of unwinds and stuff like that. So you seem like you have a great mind for the martial arts and competing and everything.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I still want to stay competitive fighting, but I do want to make the transition into coaching and training people, and hopefully get a couple fighters under my belt as well.
Yeah, it seems like you've got a lot of really cool endeavors on the go. Like, I was seeing the Slick business cards recently too, so that's pretty sweet. It seems like you're really sinking your teeth into like acting and stuff like that. So yeah, cool to see you've got a few things on the go, man.
Oh yeah, thanks. I just did my first speaking role on a major network series last week. I got a Star Wars thing coming out next week. So it's I wanted a career that was as exciting as being a full contact fighter. And there's not too many jobs out there that give you the same kind of rush, but doing stunts and acting, I really enjoy it, and it definitely pays a lot more than being a fighter.
It seems like you're applying like the same level of like fervor, but also realizing it's like a lifestyle-minded, constant growth kind of thing. Like, it would seem that your martial arts kind of pursuit has really lent itself to how you've been approaching the acting and some of the other business endeavors. Is that a fair way to kind of characterize it, you think?
Oh yeah, being a fighter and the life lessons that I've learned and the things that I've had to overcome in the fight game, I apply to the rest of my life. You always got to keep going. You always got to be training. You always got to keep getting better. You have to be consistent. Consistency is key with anything, and just never give up. Stay relentless, and once you get a goal, once you realize a goal that you want, you can never stop chasing it. You know what I mean? And we all take losses, and we all take bumps in the road. But I mean, losses, just as in fighting, you learn from. You go back, you look at the tape, like, okay, what did I do wrong there? And then you apply it, and then you change, and then you move forward.
Yeah, that's a great way to be, looking at it and framing the situation. And you mentioned that big role and everything like that. I mean, the season finale of A Million Little Things, I mean, that's definitely a known show for sure. I know a few people that check that show out for sure. So, like, how did that ABC kind of, opportunity come about there? Because that's a, widely known show for sure.
Yeah, well, it came through my agent, right? I have a pretty solid agent out in Vancouver, so she was able to get me the audition, and they liked what I did, so I landed it, and it turned out really well.
Yeah, I love to see it. That's awesome, man. Good to hear you're growing in that kind of regard. But it'd be remiss if I didn't talk about some fight-related stuff too. I'm also kind of curious when you sort of had this one on your radar, because initially Rashad Coulter was set for this one and had to pull out there, and then you were able to, step up and really show the temerity and the gameness and everything like that. It's like, when did that first kind of get on your radar? How did that all play out?
Oh, geez. Well, that was I got the call from Sonny, Unified Promoter, I think it was 8 days before the fight. It was just over a week. And, it was kind of a long shot, but, I haven't been doing a lot of fight training, so I'm healthy. Like my last fight with Larsen, I fought injured, and I hadn't trained at all, not in the gym or anything for the last 5 weeks leading up to the fight. I signed the contract and I'm a professional, and once I agree to fight, then I fight. And I didn't want to after the fight, after a loss, I didn't want to make any excuses as to why I lost, because honestly, nobody really cares, and it's just not really my style to make any excuse. Like, you lost, you suck it up, you move on, right? And so now, when I got the phone call, I'm in the best shape that I've been in years, with no injuries. I haven't been fight training, but I've been in the gym working on my fitness twice a day. So I feel like I'm in really good shape. And, what I took away from the last fight with Larsen is that, I got to feel what it was like to move around with him. I mean, the fight was short because I slipped right into an arm triangle and I got tapped out right away, but I did manage to get him off of me. He did throw me, and he got full mount on me, which is obviously a horrible position, but I did get him off, and I felt his size, and I think it humanized him a little bit for me, because I put him, before our first fight, I put him up kind of on a pedestal, if you know what I mean, him being such a big guy and knocking everybody out that he's ever fought. I don't want to say that I was scared, but I was definitely cautious of him. Sure. Whereas now, I watched the replay of our fight, and I saw the mistakes that I made, and just being in the condition that I was last time, I was very anxious to fight, whereas now I feel I'm a lot more calmer, and I'm actually really looking forward to getting in there this Friday.
Yeah, it just really shows how much the competitive familiarity can kind of lend to things, because, I mean, even prior to when you guys first fought, there had been a few cancellations, different attempts to kind of set it up there, so I'd imagine a lot of, tape study and stuff like that going on, but yeah, just crazy how much that can kind of change when you're actually in the, competitive framework and all that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, it's a short notice fight, and but Christian and I have been matched up for this is even before COVID. It was supposed to happen, and even before that, we were talking about fighting for years, right? So I've been watching his fights, and I've been training to fight him specifically for years. So it just happens to match up that I'm in really good shape this time, and I dropped about 10 pounds, but I still feel just as strong. So I feel really good about this one, to be honest.
Yeah, and when we were talking ahead of the first Christian fight there, we were, talking about your camp and stuff like that, and you were saying it was a little harder to kind of find guys of a similar size, and you were talking about you have your own kind of space now and stuff like that. Have you been curating your camps a little bit differently, maybe bringing people to your space and kind of honing skills? How's it been on the sparring partner end of things?
Well, to be honest, I haven't sparred at all, or done any of that. Like I said, I took this fight on short notice, so I haven't been preparing for it whatsoever in the last couple months as I would typically for a fight camp. So I believe that takes a lot of pressure off of it too. I took the fight on a week notice, so there's literally, I feel no pressure whatsoever. I'm a huge underdog. I'm not supposed to win. So, and I haven't been thinking about it. As a fighter, you got the call, and you sign the contract a couple months before you fight. So you literally obsess about it all day, 24/7 for 2 months. Whereas this time, I haven't really had the chance to do that. So I'm a lot more calmer about it, and whatever happens, So I feel pretty confident about it, though.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, just the general physical fitness you were talking about, like it seems like you're, doing well on that front, which is hugely important there. And the composure you're talking about for sure. But like one of the last times we were talking about like redemption and more of like a championship kind of sense. Like you'd lost the Havoc title and then we're looking to get that unified title. But now with this being like a rematch opportunity whereby you can kind of get that redemption in the context of like evening up the series with Larsen, like is there a greater, I guess, redemption to be found in that, like evening up a series with an opponent you have history with? Is it winning the gold, or maybe just doubly sweet? Like both of those things are great.
Well, to be honest, I would just like to go out there and perform better than I did last time. Perform to my capabilities, right? That's, as a fighter, that's what we want to do every time. And, with my mindset going into the last one, I was so anxious about it that I was so amped up with my adrenaline that I just ran right into him, right? Which is literally the worst spot I could be with that kind of guy. He's 300 pounds and he's got a wrestling background. So, but this time, I believe I'm going to go in there with a lot calmer mindset. And I found typically over my career, the fights that I'm a lot more calmer in, that I don't feel the pressure as much, I tend to do way better.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's the case in the different rematches there. Like even with like the Devin Neese trilogy, for instance, it seemed like there was that like compounded comfortability in like some of the subsequent kind of fights there.
Yeah. That's the thing with trilogy fights is like, I love the story behind fights like that. Like I'm well into my career, coming to the end of it. So the fights that I take now, I want them to have a little bit of meaning. Like I have no desire to go to the UFC. I know that window's passed for me, right? But I still like to compete, and I still like to have memorable fights. So, hopefully I get a win this Friday, and then I can line up the trilogy fight with Christian.
Well, that actually kind of plays into like the question I was going to ask you, because I was like, I figured it could go one way or the other, like because we were talking last, and you were saying that like these kind of fights that have that backstory and meaning are kind of what you're looking for, but there could also be that other lane where it's like, oh, I've kind of had this guy on my radar as like the primary focus for years. So that's cool to hear that would be enticing should you get the desired outcome here.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, like I'm a fighter's fighter, right? So it's only fair that if I get the win, that I give him a rematch, right? I mean, that's what people want to see.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that would be stellar for sure. And you've been definitely like one of the more ranked kind of heavyweight guys in the country for quite a while now. So yeah, good to see you in that kind of mix for sure. But I was seeing an excerpt from an article on MMA Empire, I believe it was, and this was long before you started kind of refining the skills as a martial artist. It was saying you grew up street fighting in Red Deer, Alberta. Do you have any crazy like street fighting stories from back in the day or anything like that?
Oh shit, guy, I got tons, man. Yeah, I think I've been in. I stopped counting at 200, so I've probably been in well over 200 street fights. And the most memorable ones I find are the ones where I got my ass kicked. Which I've been jumped a few times. I was in Kelowna one time, and I was after the bar, and I was trying to hail a cab, and I poked my head in this cab full of 5 guys, and the one guy, I was just trying to ask. I was kind of asking them to call another cab for me, right? And the one guy was standing there, and he pushed me and slammed my head against the door. And then I stood up, and I just dropped the guy, and he went board stiff, out cold. And then, all of a sudden, all these guys start piling out of the cab like they're Shriners. I didn't even know you could fit that many guys in a car. So I started just dropping guys, and before I know it, there was bodies all over the street, and the cops came, and I was running down the street. So yeah, that one was pretty crazy. But growing up in Alberta and Red Deer, they really like their street fights out there. I find must be the booze.
Yeah, a couple of Gasoline Alley heavyweight champions out there, eh?
Yeah, exactly, man. It's good times. I mean, that was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm in my 40s. I try to stay away from bars now.
Oh yeah, no, I just thought it was kind of an interesting excerpt. Like I hadn't seen it in any of the previous kind of chats we had there, and I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of interesting. Definitely not a lad I would want to see on the other end of a street fight there. But yeah, that seemed like it was a very long time ago. But I just kind of thought to ask because I'd never really addressed it with you.
Oh yeah, man. Different life, but that taught me quite a bit as well about you learn a lot about yourself in a fist fight. You know what kind of man you are.
Yeah, a lot of great lessons learned. And I mean, look at you now. You're getting ready to fight on UFC Fight Pass and contend for one of the bigger titles in Canada, if not the biggest heavyweight title in Canada. So quite the journey for sure, man. But I do want to be mindful of your time and your schedule and all that as you kind of get closer to this fight here, man. So to that point, Grayson, is there anything you might want to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, man?
Oh man, I just want to thank Sonny and everybody at Unified for putting on such a great show, and I want to thank Christian for giving me the opportunity to have another shot at the title. I know that typically doesn't come after a loss, especially in a championship fight. So I'm happy to fill in, so the card can continue on, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
It's going to be a killer fight, and if you're in the Enoch, Alberta, Edmonton adjacent kind of area, definitely go check that out on May the 27th. But if not, you can check it out on UFC Fight Pass, Unified MMA 45, and you can check out Grayson Wells and Christian Larsen running it back with the Unified MMA Heavyweight Championship up for grabs. And yeah, thanks for coming on the show, man. Always fun getting to talk to you for sure, and just looking forward to checking out the fight here. You enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Right on, Dylan. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Have a good day.